Welcome to another episode of Off the Plugin Chain. I'm your host, Dr. Tom. Today's video is going to be about how to configure Voicemeeter Banana so that you can capture the screencast of your DAW with an application such as OBS Studio. The application that I've been using, I read about it and I watched some videos on YouTube about it. It's called Voicemeeter Banana. It's distributed by this company called VB Audio Software. If you get to their website, vb-audio.com, then you get to this tab under Audio Apps, Banana. Here it is, Voicemeeter Banana. This software is classified as donationware, so they make a point to say it's not freeware. So they expect that you're going to give them some kind of donation, whatever it may be. And so until you do so, there's actually a nag that keeps coming up on the application. What I would recommend is download it. If it works for you and you find yourself coming back to it all the time, then I would say it's probably worth giving them a donation of some sort. When you come over here and you see the download files, you've got documentation you can download. You've got a user manual that can be really helpful. And then you've got a zip and an exe file. And in both cases where I was installing this, because I've put this on a few different computers now, is I've downloaded the zip file, and then when you extract it, it extracts as this file called Voicemeeter Pro Setup. There's a few different things that it has to install when you put it on the computer, so that's why it's not named Banana or anything like that. Now, if you were to actually look at the user manual, it's about 60 or so pages long, but what I would say is you should at least glance at the first 10 or so pages. And even if you're not keen on reading manuals, there's a few graphics here that are worth taking a look at. And so on the first real page, which is actually page 6, you've got this graphic here that shows all the different ways that you could route Voicemeeter Banana. So you can use Voicemeeter Banana to connect all types of things, headphones and headsets and microphones, and you can interface with things like Skype, and then you can also do video game streaming, which has become very popular. So you can get this set up with an application called Discord. I don't know anything else besides what it's called, and probably too with something called Twitch, but I don't use either one of those. Those are typically for gaming applications. So all I wanted to be able to do was to be able to basically do kind of like a music tutorial, like a lot of these that you see online, and how do you do that? So I was able to capture the video. It's really easy. Just you point OBS Studio at whatever screen you're at, and then as long as you've got an object in the screen, then it's going to capture it. So I could capture the video of my DAW, no problem. What I'm working on here is how do you capture the audio coming out of your DAW. And so that's what this enables you to do using Voicemeeter Banana. It's basically a virtual mixer. And let's see, you'll notice at the top of the diagram here, it says in 1, in 2, in 3, in 4, and in 5. And essentially what you have is, if you come to the next page 7 in the manual, I've got a routing diagram here. And what you have is the capability of connecting 3 physical hardware components, whatever that may be: headphones, headset, microphone, those sorts of things. And so what I have is just one microphone, just this microphone. And so I have that connected as A1. You also have 2 virtual outputs. One is called Voicemeeter VIO, and then the second one is Voicemeeter aux VIO. I haven't seen much in the way of documentation or explanation about B1 and B2 online, and I think that's kind of a drawback in a way, but basically you've got the three physical outputs, and then the virtual outputs, that's basically whatever your stream is. So, well, let me back up a second. B1 is whatever's coming out on your desktop audio, and B2 is if you're doing something like streaming. So then there's a diagram here showing all the different types of music applications that you can connect. You can do a heck of a lot with this Voicemeeter Banana. This is showing all the different types of audio drivers that you can use with Banana, and when you configure it, the best thing to do is just to default to using the WDM drivers. And some people's setups, WDM may not work and you might have to select MME, but from what I've seen, MME doesn't work so well, and there's just an enormous amount of latency. So those are not very good audio drivers. The same could probably be said of WDM compared to ASIO. ASIO is by far the best audio driver with the least amount of latency, and all your decent prosumerware, your DAWs and audio editors and everything else, those can all be configured with ASIO these days. So that is the sound card driver that you want to use if you have the choice. In some instances, what you find is that selecting WDM will get you better results with Voicemeeter Banana. So it's just something to be aware of. There's no reason to be an ASIO snob when it comes to this. If it works, that's what you're looking for. And I'm not saying it just gets you by or anything. This is very cool free software. Well, donationware, actually. Give them $20, and this is definitely worth it. So you can put all your stuff together. This screen here, or this page from the manual, this showing all the different types of audio drivers that are choosable, and in most cases the WDM is probably the one to start with. So in this case they're showing M Audio Delta as an example, and then it's got headphones, ear set, speakers, just all types of things that you could plug in. But anyways, that's probably enough of the manual. I just think it's good when you're looking at audio components. A lot of it does come back to routing, and so if you've got a diagram, or if you've got a manual that has a diagram within it, that's always good to take a look at. Okay, so when you look at configuring the sound card settings in all of these applications, if you take a look at first with Reaper DAW, this is a screenshot, so these pull downs don't work. It's just a screenshot. But on the first one here, Reaper, go to Preferences, and then Audio and Devices, and you want to select ASIO, and then for ASIO driver you want to select Voicemeeter Virtual ASIO, and that's all you do there. Don't mess with anything else. Alright, and then if you were going to use Studio One, then you go to Options, Audio Setup, and then the audio device is Voicemeeter Virtual. That's all you do there. So you make that selection. Okay, and then let's see. When you take a look at the Voicemeeter Banana itself, I've got this configured now with A1 is my microphone. It's this Tonor TC777. So this is a screenshot as well. And actually, let's see, you got A1 here. If you got A1 selected, then you're going to hear yourself on speakers. Or if you're wearing headphones, you're going to hear yourself. So sometimes that's distracting. Right now I actually have that turned off. So I'm just talking. And sometimes, admittedly, since I've been doing this and I make videos for my school classes where I teach, a lot of times it does help if you can get some auditory feedback from hearing yourself. But when there's too much feedback or too much echo, then it's really distracting. It's like if you've ever talked to anybody overseas where there's a delay, it's terrible. So anyway, so on Voicemeeter Banana, this is hardware input 1, and then you got 2 and 3, and so you could have a microphone, you could have a headset, and then you could have headphones. So then you've got the next section here, virtual inputs. You got Voicemeeter VIO and then the Voicemeeter aux. And so by having these turned on here, the signal gets passed to the virtual inputs. B1 is everything, all the sound that's coming from your desktop unit, and A1, that's linked back to whatever's connected here. I always put my microphone here on A1. You can also adjust these fader settings, and Voicemeeter also enables you that you can kind of color the sound by using these little graphic quadrant things here. You can move this little square around. It can modulate the way you sound as you're being recorded, so that can be useful. The master section too, you can change the gain on each one of these. You can mute these too if you're not using a particular channel. Voicemeeter also enables you to record things that you're doing, and then you can play it back and you can sort of test out how it sounds. I've actually not used it that way, so as far as I'm concerned, this tape thing doesn't exist. But let's see. So you got your hardware inputs, you put those in. First one is always my microphone. Now the hardware outs, those go with A1 and A2, A3. And so hardware out is line out 1, 2. That's my Behringer UMC 404 HD. It's my external audio interface that I use. So I select that. Those get routed to my event monitors. And then the second one, A2, you select whatever your onboard sound drivers are. And so for this Dell that I'm using, the onboard is this Realtek high definition sound driver. That's all you do. On this one, you can tweak the fader up and down, and you can color the sound, like I said, on some of these, and you've got a little bit where you can choose the equalizer here and all this, but you don't even have to do any of that. Just make sure that hardware A1, it's whatever your primary listening device is, or whatever you're speaking through. So it's either going to be a headset or a microphone, something like that. You got the virtual inputs, and you got A1 and B1 on, and so there's really not a whole lot that you have to do. And then you just make sure that you put your audio drivers in correctly over here. And what I did was I defaulted to the WDM ones, and those have worked fine for me. Okay, so now since we've discussed how to configure Voicemeeter Banana, and then also how to configure your sound card settings in your DAW of choice, I showed you how to set them up in both Reaper and Studio One. The last bit is how to configure OBS Studio. And so with OBS Studio, what you have, if you go into settings under audio, is you've got desktop audio 2, mic auxiliary audio, etc. And so for desktop audio, you want to assign your output, whatever that is, your speakers. And so I've got line out 1, 2 for my Behringer audio interface. Desktop audio 2 is set to Voicemeeter input, and so that one you want to make sure you set to Voicemeeter input. And then the third one would be your mic auxiliary audio, and I've got that set to my microphone. And so that's all I had to do. So after configuring Voicemeeter Banana and then the sound card in my DAW, that's all you have to do in OBS Studio. If you want to increase the gain in OBS Studio, you can do that in the advanced audio settings. You go to the little gear icon and right click on that, and then you can open up advanced audio settings and you can increase the gain. Now if we take a look at Reaper, you can see how this turned out. So this is a condensed version of my piano roundup, and one of the problems I was having configuring all this is that you have to figure out or what part of the signal chain is it that you want to tweak. And so if you change things at OBS, that's the farthest output in the whole signal chain. If I'm recording my DAW, then it stands to reason I'm going to either have to change the DAW or I'm going to have to change the mixer, but it's not going to be in OBS. And so what I discovered was that by actually changing the output for my mastered track, that made a lot of the difference. And so in my piano roundup, it was actually kind of on the quiet side, but I didn't want to take the time to re-record it. So this is how this sounds now, and I think I've got the sound levels much better calibrated now. Alright, so that's a shortened version of my piano roundup that I featured last time. That's pretty much what I kind of wanted to go over this time, was how to put those pieces all together. Or that was the thing that was preventing me from posting these videos between September and November. I had a lot going on, but I had to figure out how this stuff all works. And as it turns out, it's a lot easier than perhaps you might be led to believe if you watch any of these other videos by other people online. So anyways, that's all I wanted to go over this time. If you decide to screencast your DAW, it's not very difficult at all using Voicemeeter Banana. I like to use OBS Studio, so I'm not sure what else is out there that people are making these videos with. I can tell you firsthand that it does work together using Reaper or Studio One with Voicemeeter Banana, and OBS Studio works very well. That's all we're going to talk about today. So until next time, be well, stay safe, and keep being creative.